Joining us now, JPMorgan, Samik Chatterjee. Samik, great to have you with us.
Yep, thank you for having me.
I think regardless of what Apple unveils tomorrow, Samik, the question is for a 10% revenue grower at a PE that is higher than that of Meta and Alphabet, is the stock worth it here? What are we pricing in or not pricing in?
Yeah, I think keep in mind the multiple that you pay on the Apple shares are largely a sort of reflection of investor confidence in the predictability of the growth, right? With the large install base that Apple has, with the upgrades that it drives in terms of incremental growth through that, as well as the services, which has historically grown faster than hardware, leading to a larger portion of the net income coming from the visibility that you have in services. That drives the multiple. It's fair to compare it with some of the other companies and say, okay, it's lower growth maybe than some of the other big tech companies, but you're paying for the predictability, you're paying for the resilience that comes through that install base.
How do you think about the upgrade cycle, Samik? I mean, without AI, there is a natural upgrade cycle of people like me who have an iPhone 11 and a cracked screen who are waiting to upgrade, and the time is here. And so there's that cohort, and then there are the people who want the latest and greatest in technology, which seem to be, according to at least Steve Kovac's report, maybe smaller than we think. So let's take those people out. Let's just say people are just upgrading because they need a new phone. They want a new camera. What kind of upgrade cycle are we looking at?
Yeah, I think you're looking at more of the former as you outlined. Particularly keep in mind when you do these surveys of consumers and what is the reason that they upgrade, and to Steve's point, AI is probably third or fourth in the list of features that they're looking for. They're primarily looking for like a camera upgrade or a hardware design upgrade. People still, as a consumer, want to carry a phone that looks and feels different. And so the hardware design is still a very primary driver of what the consumer sort of attaches itself to. And now with the incremental changes that you're expecting on most of the phones, except for the Air, which is the big sort of outsized refresh this year, you're going to see a lot of the cohort upgrading going to be ones that have older phones, not necessarily probably the cohort that has iPhone 16, but really what with the iPhone Air, you're going to see probably a new consumer demographic, which is looking for a phone that has a form factor that stands out with this current generation. That's probably where the iPhone 16 sort of cohort goes and reverts towards, is they pivot towards looking at the phone that stands out from the rest of the lineup so that they can sort of carry a phone that looks and feels very different. So I think, again, both cohorts participate, but probably the iPhone 16 cohort is more participating in looking at the features from the iPhone Air, whereas the older phones come in through the rest of the lineup.
Samik, the idea that Apple might wish to take some kind of an investment, make some kind of partnership with one of the big AI, model creators, is that something you think should be a priority? Do you think that's something investors have to figure out how that plays through the finances, or do they just sit back for a while?
Yeah, I think it is a priority because when you do a partnership, it still takes you some time to get sort of on-device LLM out that can have all the features that Apple is sort of envisioning, particularly with the enhanced Siri that can essentially sort of help you integrate with the native apps. Now, keeping that in mind, I think having a partnership or signing up a partnership is of utmost importance at this time. But that said, the longer-term outlook, as you said, remains that Apple is probably going to be still better placed than most of these other cloud companies in terms of the magnitude of the spending on that front, either be it in terms of CapEx or in terms of OpEx. Partnering on that front does give them a pretty big advantage. And in some of the partners that have been mentioned in the press, I think you can see there's natural synergies with some of them, particularly in terms of being able to offload some of the AI that needs to be processed from the cloud versus sort of really taking more ownership of the LLM that needs to be run on device.